Welcome to Movie Friends. We're your hosts, Seth and Michelle, and today we're talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey from 1968. Directed by Stanley Kubrick, written by Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke, cinematography by Jeffrey Unsworth, visual effects by Douglas Trumbull, production design by Anthony Masters, Ernest Archer, and Harry Lane. Starring Keir Dalia, Gary Lockwood, William Sylvester, and performing the voice of the evil nightmare computer of our dreams, Douglas Rain as Hal. Michelle, how are you?
Of our dreams?
You know, dreams, nightmares, whatever.
Sure. Hey, Seth.
Hal has some fans, I've come to find out.
I know. I also come to find, and I have so many words on robots and AI in the future, but I'll save it for now. But hi, Seth. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. We're past the halfway mark of September.
I know. Isn't it weird?
I feel like the sun is setting earlier than it ever has, faster.
Yeah. I also feel like it's just still August, and maybe we're just having some cool days in August.
Right.
Yeah.
But no. And this is the last episode of our sci-fi series. Can you believe it? No,
I feel like we just did E.T. and I don't remember what happened in between.
We really, I don't know. I feel very proud of this month.
I hope you do.
Not like pat myself on the back proud, but just like, I feel like it's a real good chunk. As I had mentioned to you a few days ago, we really stuck to like the space alien kind of like that part of sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a real good spread here.
Yeah.
Of all different kinds of sci-fi and like visions of aliens in the future and tones. Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Good job, Seth.
Good job, Michelle, for picking this movie.
Well, heavily influenced, I should
2001.
say. Yeah.
A Michelle Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. Odyssey. Doesn't that sound like an Italian dish? I'll have the Odyssey.
I've had that before.
Yeah.
But hey, before we begin,
got
some things to talk about.
Housekeeping?
Yeah. Just a reminder, we're doing a review giveaway from now until December 1st. If you give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, it enters you into a drawing for a $50 Visa gift card. And,
wow.
It's pretty good. Not a lot of your time will be taken. You click a lot throughout the day. How many times do you think you're clicking on that phone?
Are you asking me or you're asking the people? Oh, you're asking the people. Okay.
Well, I was asking you, but...
A lot. A lot.
You're tip-tapping all day long. This is one little tip-tap, maybe a few, and you get a chance to win $50.
And you support us.
I know.
Like, come on.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, folks.
Yeah.
We also got an email from Ben, and he was responding to our episode on Planet of the Apes.
Have we named Ben the Email King?
We haven't. We can.
Well, we are now, Ben. Congratulations.
Okay. He said, I think a small musical skit should be in every episode. One of the best Simpsons movie reference. I would kiss a monkey. Why not? And I have a few reasons why not. I mean...
Well, no, I would kiss an actual monkey.
Oh, no way.
Why not?
No
a little
way.
chin?
Haven't you ever seen Osmosis Jones?
Yes.
Bill Murray eats that egg that like a monkey licked or something.
Nope, I have not. I am thinking of... What am I thinking of? Is there a cartoon character that's blue?
Yes, that's Osmosis Jones.
I was right.
Yeah, he starts. The movie goes back. The movie goes back and forth between the guy's body inside and outside, and how he gets the virus is like he has a boiled egg that falls into a monkey habitat or something, and he picks up a rare monkey disease.
Oh my god! I wonder if I just know it, but I haven't seen it. Anyway, I would not kiss a monkey, but Michelle would. 9.5 stars, almost a 10 banner. P.S. Yes to Twilight Zone. We had said maybe we would do a mini-series on Twilight Zone. Yep.
P.S.S. Excited about next episode. My guess is that Michelle gives it 2 to 2.5 stars. Wow. So hold on to your hats for that one.
The people don't have faith.
Well,
Ben's the people.
Ben doesn't have faith. PSSS, I want to be a whole thing. That was my segue last week.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
We also got a voicemail from Newman.
Newman!
Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty apes! Hi, movie friends. It's Newman from the Movies for Days podcast. I just wanted to contact y'all and give a little bit about my love for the original Planet of the Apes from 1968. I know I'm a week late, and I'm sorry, Newman. I cannot let you do that. What? You've missed the deadline, Newman. You need to accept your limitations and move on. Yeah, but Jeff 9000, I really wanted to get... Newman, there is no use in continuing this line of discussion. If you have something to say to Seth and Michelle, you can comment on 2001: A Space Odyssey. Jeff 9000, this is really fucking rude of you to interrupt me. Newman, unless you make a comment about Stanley Kubrick's seminal sci-fi classic 2001: A Space Odyssey, I will be forced to blow you out of the airlock. So 2001: Space Odyssey. Without hyperbole, this is one of the greatest films ever made. It is the kind of movie that you absolutely need to be watching and talking about if you're in some kind of a film class. I knew a lot about this movie. I saw a zillion references all of my life, and I saw other Kubrick movies, but I never sat down and watched this until I saw it about 2 years ago here in Chicago at the Music Box Theater. I got to see this for the very first time on a big screen, 70 millimeter. The music was just bursting, and everything about the movie, from the score to the effects to the concepts and themes, the kinds of questions and conversations that get sparked, the ride you go on as a viewer, it begs to be seen in a theater. I don't usually say stuff like this, but if you haven't seen this movie in a theater, you really haven't experienced it, because in a theater, especially if you've never seen it before, I know it's long, I know parts of it are weird and quiet. I was never bored for a minute. I was constantly enthralled because it stretches the questions of what it is to be alive, what it is to be human, what it is to be a viewer, a part of history. I wasn't expecting it to blow me away quite the way it did, and I still marvel at how great it looks all these years later. I'm sorry I haven't called in so long. My work schedule got really crazy, but I've been listening, and I want to try to contribute more. You're both great, and Zach is real, and take care. Love you, bye. Is that good enough, Jeff 9000? Jeez! Deploying airlock. Shh.
Wowie zowie.
I wish you could have seen our faces, Newman. Well, great performance. Like, I was fully immersed in that.
I was not expecting a dual performance there.
Wow, Newman.
And the plot twist, we thought it was about Planet of the Apes, but it was
I know.
not.
Wow. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. The Oscar goes to...
for special voiceover acting talent.
In a podcast voicemail.
I don't know if the Oscars have voiceover awards, which is crazy because there's so many animated films now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Much like Planet of the Apes, perhaps they will have a special award this year for Newman.
Just for Newman.
Yeah.
And the Ruby. Maybe I'll make the Rubies. And the Ruby goes to...
Oh my gosh. That's it. We've been talking about what we're going to do for like the end of the year.
I know.
The wrap up. All
the Rubies.
We should definitely do an awards show for all of the movies that we've covered and all of the people who've written in and so on and so forth.
Wow. Talk about a project.
Yeah. Biggest fan goes to... Tune in to find out. Maybe start engaging with us more to win that award.
Do you want a Ruby?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Wow.
Yeah.
See, sometimes even when you've been working on something for years and you've thought about everything meticulously. It is the moments of inspiration while you're doing it that yield the best results. Much like 2001, A Space Odyssey.
That was nice, Seth. I have to compliment you on that.
Thanks.
Seth is one with the word. Oh, I can't even give a compliment. He's just like on to the next.
I know. I don't like compliments.
Yeah, I don't either. Anyway.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, before Michelle watches a film for the first time, she records her pre-watch thoughts. But we watched this together.
Wow.
And we were just so excited. Really, we were trying to figure out the technical side of trying to record a commentary for this, which didn't come to fruition because nothing was working out technically.
Shout out to Jean Marie for putting in the work. Shout out to Jean Marie
for literally working for like a few hours to figure out headphone splitters and
oh my gosh,
live microphone recording and all that stuff. But we made some progress. Anyway, either way, we forgot to record what she thought. But luckily, this film has an intermission, and so she recorded her intermission thoughts, which I'm going to call her intermitch-in thoughts.
Nice.
And so let's listen to those real quick. I just thought of that one, too.
Wow.
The creativity is buzzing.
Good. Intermission thoughts with Seth and Jean Marie.
Yeah.
And Theo.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are halfway.
We got an hour left.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's not so bad. This movie is really not bad if you watch with people and friends. Okay, so right now we're at the intermission, and I think Hal is bad news. But that's like an obvious statement. Also waiting for the monoliths to come back. And is the acting good?
How do you think this movie's going to end?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Probably back to the monkeys. I mean,
you gotta be patient.
The before men.
Got it.
Yeah.
So right away you knew that Hal was bad news.
Oh my God.
Like
yes.
as we were watching it, Hal talked for like 3 lines and you looked at me and you were like, oh, he is bad news. I don't like this robot.
It's funny because in our current day, like I do not use Siri. My whole house is automated and Aunt has made everything smart. And so Aunt will be like, shut bedroom lights. Oh, unlock front door. And you know what I do? I go, hey, Aunt, can you turn down the lights? And he's like, just like ask it to do it. And I'm like, no.
And you won't talk to them?
No, I just like it's not in me. And I never ask Siri any questions. I feel like I'm going to be one of those old people when we all have robots in our house one day and I'm not going to trust them.
Got it.
So I'm working on that inner thought of mine. But
sure.
Yeah, Hal creeped me out.
You also made note of like, is this good acting or not?
Yeah.
Which was a pretty astute observation.
Yeah.
Because the humans in this movie are like machines.
Right.
Like even later on, if this is your first time listening, by the way, we talk about spoilers all the way through. So even later on when Frank dies, David is not like, no. He's not like yelling at Hal. He's not like, we see him very tense and very focused, but we don't see him really having very many human emotions throughout like that whole section. Right. Even when him and Frankie get into the pod, they're not like, this is crazy. I can't believe this. Oh my God. None of that. They just talk very matter-of-factly.
Yeah, I mean, that could be upon direction too.
Definitely.
Like this movie isn't for the acting. It's for the incredibly impressive filmmaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, on that note, what did you think of this movie?
I texted you today. Was it today or yesterday? It doesn't matter. But I said, I don't know how to feel about this. This is the first time I've felt this way on all the movies we've done, right? It's so layered. And I feel like, the emoji with the brain exploding?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this movie. Yeah.
And do you like that feeling or do you distrust that feeling? Or
no, I don't distrust it. I am incredibly incredibly impressed. Okay. And I think this is a really important movie. And if we dive deep into it and we pick it apart of like how everything was put together and how Kubrick works and how long it took, and it, like, you could just keep going. And then on top of it, the story that's intertwined of like how we're supposed to think and feel. Also, I think it's a movie that is important after the fact. Like, you're watching it in 1968 and you're like, oh wow, how did they do that? But it's not until it made an impression until like years later where we look back and we're like, whoa, this like set the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely upped the bar for what science fiction can be and should be.
Right.
And how it would be filmed and like how it would be depicted. I have spent the last week looking into this movie. Like, I went and rebought the book that Arthur C. Clarke wrote that was a companion piece to the screenplay. And I've just been rereading that. I didn't have time to read the whole thing, so I read bits throughout, and then I read the last like 40%, 30%, something like that. As a kid, I actually had read the book first because I was really into like science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read the book and then I watched the movie. And so the movie made a lot more sense to me than it does to most people who see it. I mean, the book didn't come out for a few months after the movie premiered, which could have been Kubrick's manipulation.
Yeah, sure.
Because he was so paranoid. You know, they had super secret sets for all of the ape stuff because Planet of the Apes was being worked on at the same time. And he was worried that they were going to like steal some of their designs or like how they were doing the masks. He had tried to take out an insurance policy.
This blew my mind. Film. Blew my mind. Because of fear of aliens. Because what if the aliens, took the idea?
So we had a ship that was passing Mars at the time. And he was like, well, if they discover what aliens look like, I don't want my movie to become irrelevant. I mean, think about that. He fully believes that he is presenting like the most realistic depiction. So much so that if we found real aliens, his movie would be irrelevant. Anyway, the book could have been delayed kind of purposely by Kubrick. You know, Arthur Clarke, he was not super happy about the way, I don't know, all of the contributors with Kubrick on this film kind of ended up not happy.
Wow.
But were in awe and had massive respect for what Kubrick was doing. But he basically was just taking people, chewing them up and spitting them out, and then, taking them for what they were worth and then moving on with his movie.
Right. And I think that also shows, this is why I have such conflicting thoughts, because I am, like I said, I'm so impressed, but like I was also like very bored.
Yeah.
But also I'm just like, my mind hurts thinking about it.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. It really helped watching with two people. You were there and Jean Marie was there and Theo was there. Yeah. The fact that Theo sat and watched it with us and made comments was amazing. Yeah. Which, by the way, I just want to shout out your family, because watching a movie with you guys on Sunday was awesome. And there was just food. And like, I just want to be like an honorary Vargas. And then your mom and Mikey came in at the end. Like, it was great. The Vargases
my
are the
mom was
best
making
people.
Food
best people.
Almost the entire
runtime
time of the movie, which is a very long movie.
I know.
She just kept bringing out plates of food.
Yeah. You guys are the best. Seriously, the best. But it was really fun to watch this movie in that type of setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can understand and relate totally. I had told you I fell asleep the first 3 times trying to watch this, like over the years. And every time I've watched it, it seems like it's shorter and shorter and shorter. And all of the big empty spaces feel much less empty the more I watch it. So all I can say to you is maybe in like a year or two, or, maybe Anthony's like, oh, I want to rewatch it. You might rewatch it and it will be a totally different experience. And then a few years will go by and you'll be like, oh, maybe I'll revisit it. And it will be a totally different experience.
I actually think Ant should watch it. I think he would actually really like it. He's never seen it.
Yeah.
But I could totally see him enjoying this. last night I just got up and I was like, do you know the moon landing happened after this movie?
Yes.
And he was like, really? And I was like, I know you. And I said, I know you don't know what I'm talking about because you haven't seen what's in this movie. Like, I have been on this like spiral of just like listening to podcasts and interviews. Like, I usually don't do this with our movies, but I'm like, I need to dig deeper. Then I'm like writing down my thoughts of what I think is happening, what the symbolism is, what is actually meant to be, what is actually being told to us. This is like for educational purposes. This is why this movie it's just on a different shelf. It's on a different shelf. It's by itself. And that's it. Yeah.
I agree 100%. And I'm very happy that you feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right way to feel. Like, it's meant to make you have questions, and it's meant to make it doesn't spell everything out. The book spells everything out for you, by the way.
Really?
It tells you it's a book. There's no visuals. So it has to tell you what's happening. The book can't just say yellow ocean, now blue sky, now red thing. It has to tell you what he's experiencing.
Yeah, but I'm sure it doesn't like give you the explanation of like we get to the end and it's the Star Child essentially, right?
It does.
But then you're like, that's what that symbolizes and stands for. I'm sure it's not like feeding you exactly. Because even this movie, even though we see that, there's so much to discuss, like what the actual monolith symbolizes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
no, it explains everything.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm eating my words then.
No. Well, here's the thing. You can view the movie. I know tons of people who have seen this movie. I don't know tons of people who have read this book.
Yeah.
Like the book and the movie, they are intertwined. Kubrick, he did not like working off of screenplays. The movies that he made were always based off of books. They were always based off of some type of written work. He said he did not like working off of screenplays. He said it was, what did he say? It was like trying to put the cart and the horse in the same place at the same time or something like that. Yeah, it just didn't work for him. So he always liked working off a book. And so he reaches out to Arthur C. Clarke like, hey, I want you to help me. What he kept saying was a good science fiction movie with the implication that there had never been a good science fiction movie, or at least one about like space. And I don't know if you saw this little nugget, but on the night that they like formally agreed to work on the screenplay together, they went outside on Kubrick's like porch in the city, and they thought that they saw a flying saucer, like for real. And it turned out later on to be like a satellite that NASA had launched.
Wow.
So can you imagine
that as a sign? I'm like,
well, right. Can you imagine? But Kubrick was fully on board. Like, oh, aliens are real. Flying objects are real. And he said something like, I don't take the kook approach. But to him, it was just a fact. Like, there is intelligent life out in the universe. And I want to depict that the best way that we can. And for a lot of the movie, they were planning on representing like the aliens. And by the end, they were just like, we're not going to do it because anything that we could come up with wouldn't be otherworldly because it's coming from us.
Right.
So they decided to just stick to the monolith.
Yeah, it's not necessary. And then it becomes timeless.
Right. But yeah, you can watch this movie and leave it as it is, and I think still have like the full experience.
Yeah.
Because it is just impressing on you, and it is like feelings, and it's up to you to kind of search what you think what it is.
I can absolutely see why people want to go and watch this in a theater and experience it on a big screen and hear the music. I also argue that I think it's a great movie to watch with friends because there is downtime. And so while you're watching like the beautiful space and whatever, or the first 25 minutes of Ape-Like Men, you can discuss what's happening.
Right.
And I kind of like a movie that gives you the opportunity to provide your own commentary.
Mm-hmm. I think it's definitely meant to give you room to think and to question. Not that it's trying to confuse you in like a sneaky way, like, oh, I'm hiding all the secrets. because I think that you can, as long as you're paying attention, you can get the general gist of what's happening. That end sequence when he's in the hotel room, you definitely aren't piecing all of that together like as it's happening, but you see the progression of him getting older. You can tell that he's not back on planet Earth. You see the baby, then you see the baby outside of planet Earth, and then it just kind of ends.
Yeah.
It's not like here's the answer, but you're like, okay, I know the order of events, what happened. Now I just have to put meaning behind like the order of events.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And everything to me, I feel like I've come to a good conclusion of how I feel with how everything flowed in the sequences, and what the monoliths to me stand for is like the next step of evolution, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Until we get to the end.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I understand. I think that the Star Child is kind of like the next generation, I think. And just, I'm still very trying to figure that out.
Sure. So, like you mentioned, we go 30 minutes in this film before we get any dialogue. It might be like 26 something, but between 25 to 30 minutes of no dialogue. The opening sequence, we have black, we have music. Kubrick had actually hired a composer to make music for this film. The guy was just, pretty much kept in the dark because the process was so long, right? They had told the studio it would take, I think they were supposed to deliver the film in 1966. So maybe it doesn't come out until April of 68. And so, usually music is what comes last, right. Because you need to have picture lock so that you can write. And this guy got so stressed out that he started having back spasms and back pain so bad that he had to be driven to the studio in an ambulance. And then towards the end, Kubrick was just like, yeah, I'm going to go with the placeholder music that I've been using. And the guy it's pretty wild. The guy wrote him a letter that was like, well, I'm not super happy, but I'm impressed and like good luck with your movie or something.
But like, I feel like that's how we all feel. That is how we all feel. Like,
yeah,
we wouldn't want to work with this guy. We don't want to hang out with him.
But
like, I respect the fuck out of you. And I am like really impressed. Like really impressed.
I would not want to talk to Stanley Kubrick.
No.
He's incredibly intelligent. And I think were he alive today, we would have a better grasp on whatever he was dealing with mentally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or personality wise or socially or whatever. But I would want to be in a room where someone was talking to him.
Oh, just to overhear and observe?
Yeah, like I would love to see his mind at work, and like I would love to see him in the environment with people, because what a lot of people said was he wanted input from people. He actually listened on things. The main actor, the guy who plays Dave, Keir Dalia, he at one point complained that he was like bored in a scene. Like the scene wasn't working. And so Stanley Kubrick sent him home for the day, and he was like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired from the Stanley Kubrick movie. And he came back the next day, and they like reworked the whole scene because Kubrick was like, basically if you're bored, people who are watching are going to be bored. Like it's not working. And so he gave input into like what should happen. And that's how the whole lip reading thing came about. Right. So Kubrick was not so set in his ways that he wouldn't listen to other people. I just imagine it would be an incredibly intimidating person to be around and to collaborate with.
Yeah. We talked earlier about what I said about, is the acting good? And even when we were watching with your family, I think it was your brother who was like, these actors, like, they're so good looking. Why didn't they go off and become more? Right? So like, what happened with them? Did they just not continue? Do you know?
I mean, they're in a few other things, but they certainly never
blew up,
reached,
essentially.
One of the biggest movies of all time status in their other films.
Right.
So we just did Planet of the Apes. How did you feel about the two different approaches to the prosthetics and the suits and everything?
Yeah, one is showing a very evolved species.
Yeah.
And then one is showing very closely related to the beginning of evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I thought both were great. I find it fascinating that Kubrick used mimes.
Yeah.
And that to me is just fascinating.
It's pretty smart.
It is smart. It absolutely is smart. And again, like, we don't get any talking in the first 25 minutes, but it wouldn't make sense if we did. Right? It's the dawn of man. Dawn of man, is that what the first one? Dawn of, right?
Yeah.
So we're seeing animals and how primates and how they're learning, well, when the monolith comes and then, fighting and we get violent and we discover, right? So we're like, it's almost like watching the Discovery Channel or watching a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like Planet of the Apes to me is just like so different.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so crazy that like these two very big examples of like ape prosthetics happen at the same time and come out in the same year, and they couldn't be any more different.
So different. Yeah.
And it is kind of like watching like a nature documentary, because you have the tapirs, I think.
Yeah.
Which, like, what is going on there with those noses?
Well, I mean, you can't blame them for that. It's just how they were made.
I don't blame them, but I don't love them.
Oh, well, they didn't choose to be that way.
So we get a real cheetah attack. And I remember saying to you, I was like, how did they do that?
How did they do that? Because the
cheetah just jumped off of a ledge onto a dude in a suit.
But was that a real cheetah? I couldn't find the fact on that, but I knew like the lights, they did something with the eyes, Kubrick, so it like reflected and then he kept that in. So that was a real cheetah?
Yeah, so what it was the cheetah's like handler and trainer was in the suit, and he had been practicing like wrestling with the cheetah for a really long time.
Wow.
And so the cheetah actually comes off and wrestles with him. And it's not a very long shot, but it was totally real. The only problem was the main ape, which I think they call Moon Watcher or Moon Gazer, he was also on the stage when they did that. The cheetah saw him and then like went for him, which he was not used to wrestling with this cheetah. And so they had to, jump on it and kind of tackle it down to the ground. But they had tranquilizer guns on stage, and Kubrick was locked in a cage while directing. No one else was in a cage.
Right. Well, of course, you got to protect the precious cargo.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was totally, it was real.
Wow.
So another thing that happened, and this is like super famous, but I think it's worth mentioning just in case someone has just watched it for the first time and they're listening to this, the shot of the bone that gets thrown up into the air and then turns into the space satellite. That was also an idea that Kubrick had come up with on set. He was like walking around throwing a broom in the air. And the movie doesn't explain this, but that is not a spaceship. It's actually like a orbiting nuclear bomb.
Oh.
And so the idea is that we go from one weapon to like the next type of weapon. Yes.
Wow.
Like a satellite that's capable of nuclear strikes, just kind of floating at all times above the Earth.
Sure, why not?
Which is probably like the most advanced weapon you could think of.
Yeah.
And so that's the progression from the first touch with the monolith, is like man's progression of violence.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we'll talk about the end, but yeah.
Wow. Processing. Like, I just feel like I'm processing.
Yeah, there's a lot to process.
I'm still processing.
Speaking of processing, tell me about Hal.
Oh my God. Hal is so creepy, but a lot of people seem to like him. And what I was reading and hearing, they actually feel for Hal because Hal is the only one that expresses emotion.
Yeah.
And I didn't even take it that way. I took it as like, oh no, this is creeping me out, but it's because of my predispositioned fear of robots. So I want to know what you think of Hal.
I'm not on the Hal train. I can tell you that much. Okay. I'm not on the Hal did nothing wrong. I was messaging with Jamila, and she was just like, yeah, Hal's great. Hal didn't do anything wrong.
I saw her tweet, so she's like, I think Hal's funny. I was like, what? I'm not even going to comment right now. Because, Hal creeped me out. And I have to say, my favorite part of this movie was all the Hal stuff. Because you're like, that's when it's like really starting and you're engaged and you're like, oh my God, I'm so creeped out. So I have to keep watching. That was like my favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah. And that part, about an hour in, and I think I had said to you, once we leave Lockwood and the whole moon thing and the cover story and all of that.
Right.
I think I said to you, when we get to I think the first shot is the fuselage where they're running. The dude is, he's like jogging through as it's rotating, right? Mm-hmm. I said to you, oh, by the way, this is like where the movie actually starts.
Yeah.
Like you could start the movie here. You would just be very, very lost later on. Like nothing would make sense.
Yeah.
You then you really would be like, what did I just see?
Yeah.
It's just that the setup for that takes an hour.
Yeah.
And that part, it begins like the closest to like normal narrative film.
Yeah.
I do really quickly want to mention, because, we had said Hal is the only one who expresses emotions. Really quick shout out to Vivian Kubrick, the daughter of the director, who plays the daughter of Lockwood. Or Haywood? I can't remember if his name is Lockwood or Haywood. Yeah, when he calls her.
For her birthday.
Yeah, he's like, hello. Okay, dear. Oh, very good.
Enjoy your party.
Yeah, and so he's still kind of doing the robot person thing. But her as a kid, and I don't know why they chose to include that in, but I'm so glad that they did, because it's kind of like the only like nice human interaction in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't even think of it like that. I took it as, oh, what a way to show technology. Like essentially we're using an iPad and we're FaceTiming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the iPads that they're using while they're eating dinner, watching the broadcast.
It's like, this is all of us. Nuts. This is what we do now, right?
Yes.
And that's just storytelling. And it's just it's incredibly boring. But if you really think about it, you're like, wow, this is 1968. And this is what I do now.
Yes, they were working with aerospace industry. They're working with IBM very closely.
Yeah.
Every different aspect of like technology, they're getting input. And their question is, okay, in 30 plus years, what does a computer look like? And a lot of what they all predicted, it's pretty good.
It's really good. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
There's a thing in sci-fi, I can't remember who said it, but they said, don't show the computer. Because whenever you show like the interface of a computer in a futuristic movie, 10 years down the line, you're like, oh, that's not what computers look like
ages.
Anymore.
Yeah.
So you always show it from behind, show them looking at the screen, but don't show the screen. And in this one, they show all the screens. And guess what? It looks pretty close to what we're looking at now.
Everything is so flat.
It's mind-blowing.
Everything is so flat. You're seeing a clear image come through.
Yes.
You're like, oh, this is my iPad, my tablet, my phone. Yeah. Ew.
And like you said, we hadn't even gone to the moon yet.
Yeah. I find it funny that like they thought Kubrick, faked the moon landing. But like someone said, I forgot who said it because I read it or heard it. And they're like, if that were the case, don't you think it would have looked better?
Yes.
Also, I kept saying, and I said it to Aunt, like so serious after I was like explaining all the knowledge I have gathered. And he was like, well, what do you think about this? I'm like, oh, Kubrick's an alien. That's the only explanation. He's an alien. That's the only way we can describe. That's the only answer to all of this.
You think so?
He's an alien. That's why he was so fucking afraid. And he had to take out that insurance policy. He's an alien.
He's a trans time being.
Nope. He's an alien.
He's a human from the future.
Nope. Alien.
Okay.
Alien. It's the only explanation I have.
The first photograph of Earth as a whole was taken on December 7th, 1972.
Like, what?
Yeah, I know.
He's an alien.
Yeah, the whole like faking the moon landing thing with Kubrick, it's pretty funny.
It is funny.
I'm definitely not one for conspiracy theories, other than like the fun that they can bring to your brain, because it's oh, let's make all these connections, and your brain loves making connections, and so when you see like secret connections, your brain like lights up, and you're like, oh my god, this could have really happened. Because part of that is some people will say like, well, we did go to the moon. It's just that we didn't get footage, or we didn't go when we said we did. And so they needed Kubrick to like fake the footage of what would be there. And
right. Like make it appear. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he would have done it better, y'all.
Well, right. While we're on the subject, this movie looks incredible.
It is flawless. This is another thing that blows my mind, and I cannot wrap around it. I have literally every free time I have, I'm like, behind the scenes, I need to see how they film this. And like, I'm just blown away of what I've seen, and I haven't seen enough. Like, is there a documentary I can watch on making this?
Oh, yeah, there's multiple ones. Definitely, like on YouTube and stuff. Yeah.
Seth, provide.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
There are 2 books written about the special effects teams. 2.
Oh my god.
On this film.
Wow.
We will never be able to cover everything
I know
in this movie. The further I went into it, just the more there was. And yeah, it's a 4-year process.
Let me ask you something, right? Sure. You're going through all your research. Did you ever get to a point where you're like, my brain actually can't comprehend this? That's where I've also gotten on this 3-day journey. I'm like, I actually can't compute. I can't process the information.
I did reach a point where I'm like taking notes and I'm writing different, we got to mention this. Where I was like, you know what? There's so much that I just don't feel like anything. In fact, I said to you right as we started recording, I have less notes on this movie than any movie we've done so far, because my brain did just kind of get to a point where I was like, can't cover everything. So let's just talk about what we think about it. Yeah. But yeah, I think I would feel that way. But because I've read the book and because I've loved this movie for so long, a lot of it is stuff that I kind of like knew on the periphery. I didn't know how they did the cheetah thing. That really blew my mind. And that the main ape was like shooting heroin and doing meth and stuff in between shots. I didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
So I am learning a lot of stuff about this movie. And it just keeps going on. But this movie looks amazing. Yeah. They took their time with everything. They figured out new ways of doing things. They spent way more money than they were supposed to. He basically was just given like warehouse studio space and was like, all right, I'm going to be here for a really long time. And the head of MGM at the time just supported him and kept giving him more and more rope. And they were worried that it was going to be a total flop. This movie was a success. A lot of places that I saw said that it's the highest grossing movie of 1968. When I looked at the numbers, let me say this. I am definitely wrong. Like one dude just looking up numbers on the internet is not right. It appeared that Funny Girl may have made more money.
Is it because the science fiction crowd didn't attend unless they took some drugs first?
No. Like just numbers wise, like I'm not sure why Funny Girl is shown to have made a little bit more money, but then everyone says that this made the most money that year. So, but the point is, this made more money than like every other movie that year. This was a very successful movie, but people did not understand it. People were walking out. A lot of the reviews were very, very mixed, except for Roger Ebert. He gave it 4 stars right off the bat, and he understood it 100%. He was like, this is a movie that you feel. And late in the editing process, Kubrick removed all of the narration. There was a narration over this movie that like explained everything. There was a whole scene of exposition after Hal is dismantled where Dave is talking to Mission Control and they're talking about like what went wrong with Hal, what he's going to do next, and he just cut all of it. Because as they kept working on it, he was like taking more and more and more away until, you know, what we're left with. Steven Spielberg said it's a silent movie for the sound age.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. I'm glad the narration wasn't in there.
I am too. 100%. Yeah. It's well, I don't want to say yet, but it doesn't need it.
It doesn't. How about the music? Are we going to talk about the music?
Music is amazing. It's incredible. You cannot hear this music ever again without thinking of this film.
It's so iconic that I didn't realize how much I knew the score. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, yes. And again, I think of more Simpsons episodes.
Yeah. This is definitely a movie. It's like a gateway to understanding like 100 pop culture references.
It's insane.
While we were watching, you said, you were like, wait, this is like in Clueless with Cher's phone. And I was like, yes.
The monolith. Yeah.
100%.
Oh my gosh. I was watching. Yeah.
No, you say what you're saying.
No, I was watching clips of The Simpsons last night and 2001. You know, influences, and when Homer's in space and the chips go everywhere, and it's like da na 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 na. It's just so good. It's just so good. Yeah. Continue, Seth, what you're gonna say.
Well, what we're doing right now, podcasting, takes its name from this movie. The iPod was named after the pods that they're driving in the movie.
I can't compute.
Yeah,
cannot compute. Will explode. Shutting down.
Very quickly before we leave Hal, do you remember that I came on one of your podcasts years ago to talk about AI and like video deepfakes and stuff like that?
This is slowly ringing a bell. This must have been for It Takes 3.
Yes. You guys were having people on and you let people pick their own topic.
I know.
And I was like, I can't think of any, like literally, I can't think of anything to talk about. But at the time was when video deepfakes were starting to come out. And I asked all three of you, I was like, have you guys heard of this? And all three of you were like, no. And I was like, well, in a few years, unless there's some type of like regulation, you're going to be able to make any celebrity say anything.
Wow. Seth.
Well, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm just saying like,
yeah,
like this is, you know, the future that we are kind of hurling towards is not quite Hal, but for those of us who might not be like the smartest person on earth, it might as well be, you know what I mean? A machine that can think. It doesn't need to think as smart as Hal does. It just needs to think as smart as I do.
Exactly. Yes.
I just want to mention Dave, Keira D'Elia, in the sequence where he's trying to get back in and he has to go through the airlock. The way that they shot that was they had the camera at the bottom of the hallway. So it looks horizontal. It looks like he's coming in sideways, even though there is no sideways in space. But it's actually, he was coming down at it. He's attached to a rope. 2 stories up, he jumps off. And there's a man, like a strong man from the circus, essentially, just holding the rope at the top. And he's not a stuntman. He's just an actor. And they were like, we can't do it with a stuntman because in the scene, you don't have a helmet on.
Right.
It's the whole point of going in through the airlock is you don't have your helmet on. And so he did it. I would never do that.
Did Kubrick make him do it a bunch of times? Do you know how many
They
times?
only did it once.
Okay.
He said it was the only shot that we got in one take. Thank God.
My God.
But major props to him. I love him as Dave. I love everything with him and his interaction with Hal. You know, open the pod bay doors. Hal it's so good. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. And then this sequence where he's dismantling Hal.
As he's singing Daisy.
Okay, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Where did you feel that scene?
What do you mean?
Like, as you're watching that, what did that like do to you?
I was deeply creeped out.
Yeah.
Deeply creeped out. Like, I felt it. I was so tense in my shoulders.
Yeah.
And like my eyes were huge. Like, if you were to watch me watch that.
I was watching you watch it.
Okay. Well, that's kind of creepy.
I was, because I've seen it 100 times, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, we're at the Daisy scene. And I think the Daisy scene gets at what he wanted to get at, which is something like deep within you. And so I was watching, I was like, oh, I think it's working. I think.
Oh, it worked. All right.
I was like, I really hope that she doesn't like laugh at this or like think like, what the heck? Yeah.
No, my heart was racing. Heart was racing. Eyes were bugging. Very tense. Like, so creeped out. Oh, yeah. And just hearing him as he's literally being killed.
Yeah.
And what a song to do it to. When you listen to the lyrics.
That song was chosen specifically because Arthur C. Clarke had gone to a computer manufacturer and they were demonstrating for him like what this computer could do. Because Arthur C. Clarke was an established science fiction writer. And they had the computer sing Daisy for him. And he thought that it was like just so strange and weird. He was like, that's, he knew exactly what Hal had to do. But going back even further, the reason why is because I guess Alexander Graham Bell, like in inventing the telephone, sang that song.
Yeah. Wow.
So like it goes back, like there's layers of technology that they're like referencing.
And also to have a computer sing that song, like you can never experience what that song is about. And that's so creepy. It's so creepy.
Yeah. It's like, let me do this little like tap dance for you and perform. And I'm happy. And I'm singing this song about like love and being crazy for you. And then, you know, in its final thoughts as because he says like, I can feel myself. I can feel it. I can feel it. And as he's losing himself. And so like, he regresses back to, you know, essentially when they flipped the switch, turning him on. It's so sad.
It is really sad, but it's incredibly creepy.
Yeah, it's disturbing on a real deep inner level.
Did you get creeped out by the movie Her? Because I didn't get creeped out with that. I actually really liked that movie.
I don't think so.
And I'm like, when you know, it's like similar technology, right? And having a relationship.
I thought that the sex scene was a little strange.
Yes.
I mean, done extremely well. I think the way that they did it, I thought that was done extremely well. But that did feel like, okay, I can see this as a reality. And what are we letting go of as humans a little bit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that whenever I think of it, that movie, I think of that scene and then a scene towards the end when he is like greatly hurt by her. And that was also disturbing because it was like, oh, right. Like we can be, I don't want to say tricked because I don't think that, you know, the operating system in Her was malevolent or trying to like trick him in any way.
No.
But like we can trick ourselves and we can dupe ourselves. And it just felt very, very real. And like, I don't even think that that's a future that's far off. I think that,
no, I think we're there.
Yeah. I think that we're definitely to a place of replacing human relationships with non-human relationships.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Really quickly, if it is possible to do it quickly. You're watching this movie, Hal dies, we get the flashing message, you know, the reason why, you know, you guys are going there is because we received this message and it's like alien life. And okay, fine. And then the screen cuts and we get Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite. What is going on in your mind as we're going through the infinite?
Yeah. This is the colorful kaleidoscope moments and the Kubrick eye.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay. And it just kept going.
Yeah.
And then this is when your mom came in and Mikey started watching and it just kept going. And I was like, wow, okay, we're using color here. We are going through the terrain. Mm-hmm. This is a really long time. I wish I time-stamped how long this went on for. Because this went on for a really long time. But at this point, you're like, oh, everything goes on for a really long time. So you're here for it. But it's just such a stark difference from what we've been seeing, like clean lines, space. And then all of a sudden, just like color, right? Close up of the eye, color. And then just like terrain and filters over that. So I don't know. I think at that point, I'm just like, okay, here we go.
It's a lot. It's a lot for sure.
It's like a screensaver. Crazy
probably
screensaver.
One of the biggest reasons why so many young people were into taking various substances and then going to see this film.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it's great, especially after learning like how they filmed it, what they did. And it does go on for a long time, but I think if you are patient and you kind of sit with it, it does help you make the transition between, Dave in the spaceship to Dave in the hotel, the alien hotel.
All right. So Dave at this point is where I'm like, I don't know how to really decide on how I'm feeling.
Sure.
Because at first I was like, oh, this is Dave dying. Right? Like he's dying and this is what it's like. Right? And then we get to this scene where I guess you keep saying a hotel room. I guess it is a hotel room. I didn't even know what to call. I didn't even know what I was thinking. And to me, it was like the white room, kind of like the white light. And you're just seeing, it's like the end of your life. And you're just seeing yourself age and you die. And then finally you die. And then we have the monolith and then the baby. And then we start all over again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much it. Yeah. I don't know how much you want me to explain. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, is he dying? Like, yes, right? And we're just seeing stages of his life. Yes. Okay.
So basically, the book, like I said, the book lays everything out.
Yeah.
Kubrick cuts out all of this or just didn't shoot it. I don't know. Uh-huh. But he stays on the spaceship for like months as they finish approaching Jupiter. And they find a giant monolith on one of the moons there. Uh-huh. He goes out into the pod and goes to land on it. It opens up, sucks him in. Mm-hmm. That's when he goes through the Stargate, which is like all the lights and everything like that.
Yeah.
The Stargate transports him from, Jupiter to very, very far away. Mm-hmm. And he goes into basically what's like a zoo. Mm-hmm. Because the aliens, they've left these monoliths to help life evolve.
Okay. So the monoliths are actual items.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like energy sources.
Yeah, basically like kind of like computers. Like they're not conscious, but they're like aware.
Oh, wow. So I took it totally different. I took it as just like, this is just like an energy source.
Kind of. Yeah.
And it's like symbolizing the next step of evolution and technology intertwined.
Yeah, and it like helps. Like if you can reach it, basically. And so the aliens have actually set these up on millions of planets. Like it's not just Earth. And so they set them up. So the first one's on Earth, right? Uh-huh. The second one is on the moon. So it's like if this species can make it to the moon,
right?
They'll find this other one that we've buried. And if they can find that one, then they can find the one. And so that is, a species that can move on to the next stage of evolution.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So in the hotel room, he's dying and then being reborn. Like he lives through his entire life backwards and then is reborn as the Star Child, which is like the next stage of evolution.
It's hard. Like, I'm following.
Yeah.
And I do know that.
Yeah.
But if I had to just spit that back to you.
Right. And then, so the other thing is, like how I said, the weapon at the beginning goes from a bone to like a floating nuclear device.
Yeah.
In the book, when Dave goes back to planet Earth, like that's the last thing that we see, right? The baby like floating above Earth and just kind of like looking at it. The first thing that he does is he destroys all of those, like just by thinking it, he just destroys everything. He destroys all of the nuclear bombs so that there won't be nuclear war anymore. And then the book basically...
That's lame.
The book basically ends with him being like, okay, like, what do I do now? And then it ends.
Wow.
Yeah. So you were right. You were right.
Like, ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay. See, this movie makes your brain hurt.
It's great. It's wonderful. It's a great... And like you said, it really is on its own shelf.
Own shelf.
There are tons of other movies that are just as thought-provoking and, pulls questions out of you and like makes you think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful. It's great.
Wow. Okay.
But it's definitely confusing. And like one of the versions of the scripts ended, and this is in the book, one of the versions of the scripts ended with, in a moment of time, too short to be measured, space turned and twisted upon itself. The end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
And people were like, what? How do we film that? But hey, he did it.
Yeah. Wow.
Everything going against them, and people didn't understand it, and still people don't understand it. But as a movie friend, what I will say is, and it's what I prepped you with for weeks, is this movie is boring. I can't stress that enough. Like I'm if someone said to me, I don't get it, or like I couldn't finish it, or I would be sad for them because I want them to have this experience, but I wouldn't look down on them. I'd be like, yeah, I get it. This is a tough pill to swallow.
What makes this movie fun is the conversation that follows.
Yeah.
With the right people.
Right.
If you have no one to talk about it and you're not into filmmaking, it's not for you.
You got to get Anthony to watch this.
Yeah, but I'm not going to sit there and again.
Give it a year. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Break it up into 2 nights. Or tell him, be like, hey, you know what? Call me when we hit the hour mark. I'll come in.
Yeah.
A cool 90 minutes left.
Yeah, a cool 90 minutes left. I'll come back.
You'll miss the bush baby part, but...
Yeah, which my sister always says I look like a bush baby. She's always said that.
I don't even know that I know what a bush baby is, but...
They're cute, but like I don't think I want to be called that I look like a bush baby.
Okay. Does Michelle look like a bush baby?
Oh,
send us an email. moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. So this movie was made for $10.5 million. Its original budget was $6 million. When years dragged on and they had gone to $7 million, he made a statement of, well, for $6 million, we could have had some Buck Rogers movie. So for $7 million, I'm okay with having a Stanley Kubrick movie, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
I don't know that he knew that it would go to another $3.5 million past that. But
right.
Box office initially was $56 million. It has a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.3 on Letterboxd, 84 on Metacritic. This was in the Criterion Collection, but only on Laserdisc, like a while back. This was entered into the National Registry in 1991. And like I already mentioned, Roger Ebert gave this 4 stars.
Mm.
And he was someone who, like, right out of the gate got it. People came around to this film, obviously. But yeah, initially a lot of people were like, what was that? I don't get it.
Don't you think this one should sit next to Citizen Kane?
Yeah.
Which one do you like better?
Well, this one.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane is a film that perhaps we will talk about one day on
I've
this show.
seen it, though.
It's okay.
I mean, every film kid has seen it. They
still
drive it into you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still worth talking about, I think, but my opinions on that film might...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Temperature check there.
Sure. We reached out to some friends on Twitter to ask them what they thought.
Yes, I'm dying for this.
Ryan Ritter. The Real Ritter. Says, it feels like a cliche to call it the best sci-fi movie, but it's the best sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm.
Jens Draby at Drabesy.
Okay.
Says, it's too disjointed to be the greatest anything, in my opinion. The part with Hal is very excellent and could have been stretched into a better and less pretentious feature that doesn't rely so much on an informed interpretation. This movie is, it's definitely in chunks. You know what I mean? Clear chunks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chunks.
Sean at Sean Shank says, 2001 A Space Odyssey is some heavy blank. Unique in that both the beginning and ending of the movie are iconic and unforgettable. Donnie at SciEnder14 reminded me about the score being an early gateway into classical music for me. The Blue Danube Waltz drop was perfection.
Yep.
Maniac Mike. He's commented before in his handle, I messed up then and I'm going to mess up now. At Mainawamana 707.
You sound like a sim. Trying to say that.
Said, one of my least favorite top tier essential cinema.
Oh, I love that he called that in quotes, like the top tier essential, because that is to me what this is.
Yep.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Yep. I think that's very fair. I mean,
so fair.
And also, he says one of my least favorite. So he's not saying like this is trash.
And it
top
sucks.
Tier essential.
It's just like least favorite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sarah at Silly Smiley.
It gets me every time.
She says, I was super lucky and got to see a 70mm print of it when I saw it for the first time.
Wow.
It was phenomenal looking and the sound was amazing. I honestly haven't rewatched it since then, since it was one of my best theater experiences and I'm afraid of tainting it. I even own a 4K copy that my husband bought me for Christmas last year. I've watched it in parts, but haven't rewatched the whole thing.
Yeah, I can get
Imagine
that.
A movie so good that you're afraid to rewatch it.
I'm trying to think if I have any of those.
You know what I mean?
I don't.
But I understand. I understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
Gavin Mann at Gavin Mann's page. Straight to the point. A lot like Melissa's profile. Just straight to the point.
I love it. Yep.
Says, a first-time watch for me this year. And given the great films I've seen in my life, this has to be one of my all-timers, which is about as much high praise as I can give it. Interested to hear both Michelle and Seth's views as always. Oh, thank you, Gavin. Hopefully we didn't bum you out.
We didn't bum him out. This was a great discussion.
I agree. Someone who might not agree. Felicia,
yes.
At Cinnamoroni.
I've been waiting for this, Cinnamon Noodle.
She says, I will go on record saying that Kubrick was obviously a competent director, but his vibes were the worst. He's someone I would never want to be stuck talking to at a party. That's how I feel watching this movie. When can I leave? Why is this still happening? Please make it stop.
Valid. Very valid.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I know Felicia loves old movies and she has amazing taste in film. Speaking of which, if you don't already subscribe to her show, Seeing Faces in Movies, you totally should. She's talking about some of the greatest movies of all time on there. And so I'm curious how she feels about other Kubrick films and kind of like what her state was watching this one.
Yeah.
Because you kept saying when we were watching this, you were like, can you imagine me watching this alone at home? And I was like, no, losing your mind.
I probably would have fell asleep.
So I'm not doubting Felicia, but I want more info. We want more info. Send us an email, Felicia. Give us the dirt on.
Give us the 411.
Yeah, on all of Kubrick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And on Instagram, Joe XA. Joe, good friend Joe.
Good friend Joe.
Said, best movie of all time. My favorite for sure. The book that it was made from is so good too. I could rant about this film all day.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Wow, Joe. Can't wait to discuss that when I see him next.
Joe, if you listen to this episode, send us an email.
Please, Joe. I hope Joe listens.
Well, I'm going to tag him so he's got it.
Okay, good.
And also on Instagram, Marley Loves Film said, overrated with the shy hiding face emoji.
Okay. Be proud of how you feel.
Yeah.
No need to hide around that.
Say it with your full chest, as they say. Overrated. You never heard someone say that? Say it with your whole chest?
No.
You've never heard someone say that?
No.
You said that with your whole chest. No, you said the no.
Yeah, no, I know.
You never heard it?
No.
I think it just means like say it proudly, right?
No, I'm following. I get through life on context clues, Seth.
Okay.
And I'm sure we're going to discover each week something that Michelle does not know. It happened, I don't know, I feel like it happened last week, a couple of weeks ago. I learn new things all the time.
Well, I learn things by hearing other people say them. And as you were saying, like, I've never heard of that. And the look you were giving me, I was like, wait, what am I saying? Do I know what I'm saying? Am I using this improperly?
Oh, no, I'm the worst person to gauge by because I don't know anything.
Well, you have Mishlish.
I know. I have my own language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some folks that we do know.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to go to a segment of the show where we hear some people that we don't know. It's called Half Star, 3 Star, 5 Star. Half Star, 3 Star, 5 Star. All right, so these are reviews from letterboxd.com. We start with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating that you can give a film. And we go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest rating that you can give. And I'm going to try to read this one as Hal.
Yes.
But after hearing Newman, I was like, oh no.
Oh my God, Newman.
I'm intimidated by Newman's Hal voice now.
Just be inspired by.
I'm going to try.
Okay. This is the Seth 9000 series.
Which has never made a mistake. Incorrect. Because Hal isn't just monotone. No. There's like a lightness that comes through.
Yeah.
You know, like, Okay. Half-star review says.
Okay.
I really can't do this. I don't know if I can do this.
You say that every week and then you provide.
I know, but I'm like blanking right now. And how I'm sorry.
Channel
Dave.
how.
Dave, what do you think you're doing right now? Daisy. Okay. I've tried to watch this 15 times, and I am not exaggerating. It is so boring, I can never get past the 40-minute mark. I am trapped in some sort of Groundhog Day ordeal, and will probably never watch it in its entirety. This is quite literally unwatchable. Half star.
Okay, that was very good, Seth.
Thanks.
I mean, 15 times and it's unwatchable. So
I think after 5 times you might just give up.
I think after 3 times
10.
you gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta
I said, first few times I watched this, I fell asleep. I liked what I saw, but I was like, right. I was down for the count.
It's nap worthy, but I think you got to find a crowd to watch it with. And watch it during the day when you're awake. Yeah. And lots of food.
Sit up straight. Watch the movie.
Have some food.
Yeah. Have my mom bringing you fresh plates of food every 40-ish minutes.
Amazing.
That's the trick.
Oh my God.
That's the ticket.
It's the best way to watch a movie.
3-star review says, stunning achievement ahead of its time. A visual feast, but it's awfully hard to sit through. There, I said it.
I mean, we all feel that way. But well said. Well said.
I love that. There.
I love my 3 stars so much.
5-star review says, the first time I watched this, I kind of liked it, but I didn't get the fuss. I rewatched it 6 years later and had the most amazing experience in my life. Every second of it is beautiful. I couldn't tear my eyes away. The soundtrack brings it to life. I was not bored for a second and felt like I could continue watching it for the rest of my life.
That person took shrooms. There's no...
It's possible.
Yeah, which is fine.
But I picked that one because they're like, I liked it, but I didn't get it. And then 6 years later. So it's like, I really think this is a movie that you can get the first time, but it grows with you each time you see it. There's no way you can process it all the first time you see it. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So Michelle has a rating. It's called a schmovie, a movie, or a film. And then we rate the film 1 through 5. And I don't know, final thoughts, whatever. So Michelle, take it away.
Okay. So this is a film. It's a shining film.
The best a film can be?
Yeah. And this is a movie Friends first.
Okay.
I don't have a rating. I'm not rating this one.
I had no idea what you were going to say. This whole time, I was like, is she going to say a half star?
Oh, no. Oh my God, no. Yeah, I'm not rating this one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, this one cannot be rated in my eyes.
Wow.
Nope, it's a film. It is a film on a shelf by itself. It's important and it's impressive and much respect. But there is no way I can rate this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm kind of blown away right now.
Well, that guttural sound you just produced was pretty amusing, so.
That is a movie Friends first.
Yeah. I cannot rate this. I
don't even know what to put down in my little spreadsheet here.
You just put a dash or an NA. Non-applicable.
Wow.
Non-applicable. Applicable? I can't say that word.
I'll go with the dash.
Okay.
Okay, and so I also always ask you, like, would you recommend this movie to somebody?
Very particular person.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Someone I can trust.
Got it.
Yeah. This is not a one that you're like, yeah.
Right. Throw that on.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Is this a movie that you would play at a party with the sound off?
We talked about this. And you know what? I think I would. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I agree that this is a film. I love this movie. I loved rewatching it with you. You know, I think, as we've said, I was not going to put this film on the slate, even though I think it's an important sci-fi film. And so the way that everything kind of played out, it was like very satisfactory for me because you picked it, you appeared to have a good time while watching it, and then you have looked into it past that. And so it's like, that's the best experience that I can hope for with any movie that we do on the show. So, so that was really great. So that was really cool rewatching it this time around. I think I'm just gonna say 5 stars. Like, I think this movie, like at a minimum, is 5 stars, and it might go through a Stargate beyond to a place where all ratings and time are meaningless.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't rate this. Do you agree it's on a shelf by itself?
Oh, I completely understand and agree with you not being able to rate it.
That
100%.
Tweet, the top tier essentials. I'm very curious of what else is on the top tier essentials list.
Sure.
Oh, like
probably.
Wouldn't you say Citizen Kane's probably up there?
Probably Citizen Kane. Probably Metropolis.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Metropolis?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, that's
Film
another
school.
I love. Yeah, I love that film. Quite long.
Yeah, we didn't watch all of it. I think we watched parts of it probably for some like assignment or something. But yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sci-Fi September. It's done.
Wow. I'm kind of bummed actually.
Great month, I think. I think this was maybe the most cohesive month since we did teen movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you going to rate? Can we just rate our sci-fi movies just real quick that we watched?
What do you mean?
Well, like we watched 4. How are you rating in terms of like I don't know.
Oh, like against each other?
Yeah.
No? Oh, okay. So 2001 would be at the top. Planet of the Apes. I think, even though I think I rated it higher, I think I would probably say Fifth Element and then E.T.
Okay. I'm going to
But not to say like E.T. is at the bottom.
No, I get it. I'm just thinking like looking back, I think for me, like E.T. and Planet of the Apes are neck and neck. Right? And then you have 2001 and then Fifth Element, you can't even see it's on the floor.
Got it. Okay.
Like Fifth Who?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. When you said neck and neck, I thought of E.T.'s neck. And I thought, what a neck.
What a neck.
Yeah,
it's long.
To be neck and neck with.
I know.
You wouldn't want to be in a contest neck and neck with E.T. because he could just go, ah!
Unless you're a giraffe.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
So we say goodbye to Sci-Fi September, and we can finally, after a year of trying to figure out how to do horror movies with Michelle, we can announce what our October series is going to be.
Oh my God, October is my favorite month.
That maybe no one else is excited for except for us, and nobody cares.
Who cares?
But
who cares?
Care.
It's for us. Oh, yeah, we won't be able to listen.
Well, that's true too, yeah. But
Yeah.
Anyway, so we tried to figure out how to do horror movies, horror adjacent. Are we going to do like funny horror movies was on the table, right? Or like all of the Universal monster movies was on the table.
Yeah.
Or I think one of the ideas was Rocktober, where it would be all like music themed. Anyway, we kind of found our way through all of those, connected all of the dots when you brought up Frankenstein.
That I've never seen.
Correct. And so we are going to be doing for October, we're going to be doing what we're calling Franktober.
I love it.
It is all films, like a variation on the theme of Frankenstein.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. The movies that we have picked, I think, are pretty diverse and interesting while also sticking to the theme.
Yeah.
We're going to have a special guest appearance because Michelle's going on vacation in October.
I am.
And so we're going to be doing a special episode with me and Jean Marie.
Yay.
Covering the movie, not in the Franktober category, but a spooky season film for sure. And yeah, we're kicking off next week with Frankenstein from 1931, directed by James Whale. It is 70 minutes.
Oh my God. Is that so beautiful? Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
You can watch this like once a night for the next week.
I won't, but that is beautiful, Seth. That is so beautiful. 70
minutes, directed by James Whale. It's currently streaming on Peacock, but the first of the month movie always screws us over because it's always streaming when we pick it, and then the new month rolls around and it's like, bye. But We should be pretty safe for October.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to be pretty safe for October, we'd love it if you give us a rating and a review. It helps the show. Can you believe that? One little click of your finger, you can help the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's super cool. And then we get to read and text each other about your review, and we lay in bed and kick our feet giggling to each other.
We got a good laugh at Mario. It's me, Mario.
Okay. Who was the Mario person? Can you please expose yourself? Because
it's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I don't know who this is. And quite frankly, I don't know if you're making fun of me right now.
Why would they make? You don't quote Mario. It was just so funny. It's like, down I go, bye.
Yeah. So Mario, we're looking for you.
Yes, please.
You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you about a movie that we're doing, about a movie that you want us to do, just general questions for us, anything, okay? You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. It's $5 a month. You get access to 3 additional shows. We are covering Freaks and Geeks episode by episode on our show, Weirdcast. We are talking with people that we love about movies that they love. Speaking of which, Felicia, we just did Harold and Maude. Everyone was coming out of the woodwork for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Great film. That's on Super Amazing Film Club. And you also get access to Ghibli Gabs, where we talk about the films of Studio Ghibli. And this month, we've got a good one coming up. One of the outliers, not one of their more popular ones, but another one that people were like, this is my favorite. One guy commented, this is my favorite movie of all time.
Wow.
And like he screenshotted his Letterboxd top 4 as proof.
I love that for them. I mean,
I love it too. I was like, I love that this is your favorite movie. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, and we've also got cooking. If you made it this far, you're not in the top percentage of people who listen to this show, but
no.
Are we going to announce this live show officially?
I don't know. Is it booked?
Pretty much, yeah.
You didn't even tell me if it's booked yet.
January, Albany, New York. We will be doing a live show. Movie to be announced very soon. We won't wait.
Yeah.
Date is pretty much confirmed, but we're doing it, folks.
Yeah, it's a little teaser.
So,
oh my gosh, guys, we're doing a live podcast. So come out and support if you're in the Albany area.
If you want to be one of the 10 people who are there.
Yeah.
Reach out. Let us know.
You're bound to laugh, at least.
You're going to laugh. You're going to get hugs from both of us.
Maybe.
Which, you know that we don't like to do that.
We don't. We are not. Well, yeah. I might smell you.
I'll smell you.
Okay.
Well, they're going to come now. Anyway, so that's exciting, but we'll have more information on that once it's like all firmed up.
Yeah,
but it's pretty firm.
Yeah.
It's like tofu firm.
I was just going to say that. It's like I got so excited. My headphone got tangled. Wow. Just like tofu.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks, Michelle. This was fun.
Thanks, Seth. We did it.
Mind-blowing fun, but fun nonetheless.
Yes, yes.
Hey, until next week when we're talking about Frankenstein from 1931, thank you for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Music by Anthony Vicora. If you like the show, please subscribe and give us a rating. It really helps us find new friends. Thanks.